Hare Krishna, everyone, and welcome to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. So we've started from last Sunday a theme-based study of Bhagavad Gita. So last Sunday was the last session of the previous year. So we thought it's apt for us to take a uh, look back how far we have covered, what all we have discussed, and what are the prominent thoughts that Krishna has spoken repeatedly, which are the prominent issues or the ideas that Krishna has elaborated with more and more verses. And for that purpose we took a look at a few themes. We predominantly took look at two themes in the previous Sunday, on last Sunday: surrender and soul, not body. So these two themes, we discuss elaborately about, and then we've had a lot of group discussion followed by a lot of question answer sessions last Sunday. And what we'll do from now onwards is we'll build on that. Last Sunday we said that 16th chapter, last verse we concluded, where Krishna says what is to be done and what is not to be done should not be decided whimsically. You don't decide that haphazardly. So it should all be done on the basis of what Shastra recommends, what Shastra speaks, what instructions Shastra is given. And the essence of all Vedic literature is Bhagavad Gita. Right in the beginning, after Mangalacharan prayers, Prabhupada, right in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, that Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. All Vedic knowledge um, that is shown, and the essence of all that is what it contained in the Bhagavad Gita. And therefore Bhagavad Gita is that of proper the prominent importance. And any spiritualist who want to claim himself to be a spiritualist has to write a commentary on Bhagavad Gita in order to get recognized in the spiritual circle to be a to be a proper authority. So everybody has to write on Bhagavad Gita, and in that process, lots of Bhagavad Gita versions are available today, and it becomes extremely difficult which version is authentic. And hence, to overcome this problem and give proper knowledge to people, as it was spoken by Lord and understood by Arjuna, the original two parties involved in the conversation of Bhagavad Gita, the way they understood and they spoke, the similar way, the same themes can be understood by the people of today, without any adulteration, without any personal motives being brought into by the respective writers of Bhagavad Gita. To avoid that, to overcome this adulteration, Prabhupada came up and wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is, which we are distributing in this current month of Gita Jayanti, as book marathon. As a marathon, we try and want to distribute more and more Gita to everyone. We want every person to have their every alive person to have his or her own personalized copy of Bhagavad Gita. And that should be our aim. That is our aim with which we are all working like missionaries. This 1 month, we don't wait for people to come to temple and ask for Bhagavad Gita. We go out in the streets and we show them Bhagavad Gita and we give them Bhagavad Gita, even if at times they don't want it, because they don't realize its worth, they don't realize its value. And hence, they're not asking for it today. But this is a special month where we go out, pyasa kuएं के पास जाता है, that kind of a the Lord wants to go out and go out to the people, and we just facilitate that by our small effort. Now this is where we are. And then so 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 as Krishna says that act according to the instructions given in Shastra. And we know Vedic the essence of Vedic principle is given in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is a Gitopanishad. So the Bhagavad Gita then contains a lot of instructions which Krishna has given. Some of those instructions appear once but doesn't appear again. Some of those themes means a particular topic, a similar sounding instruction appears, and so those can be clubbed together and studied together as well. And if something is important, it will be repeated in our normal day-to-day conversation also. When we have to give some important message, some important point we have to explain, we at times repeat it, so just to clarify any doubt in the mind of those who are listening, just to make sure that when they act on our information, they are not left with any confusion. So we elaborate, we give more evidence, we give more examples. We want to make sure when we speaking this important knowledge, we want the receiver to understand it exactly the way we want to convey. There should be no miscommunication. We don't want any miscommunication, because any miscommunication can lead to disaster. So we put a lot of focus on that aspect, and we will repeat those instructions. And in Bhagavad Gita also we see that the some of the instructions are repeated, and we are calling them as themes of Bhagavad Gita. That these are some important point that Krishna wanted to speak, and hence he's not just given a verse for it. He's dedicated a number of verses for explaining the same point again and again, not necessarily in a flow as we see in case of soul and body concept. The that comes in appears in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and there are series of verses starting from 2.12 Natvevaham Jato Nasam till 2.30 where Krishna explains elaborately, going deep dive, does a deep dive on this conception and of soul, that he want Arjuna to first understand that talking about adhyatma without atma is incomplete. Talking about spirituality without understanding who is spirit is incomplete. So it's of no use, and hence Krishna does not want to miss out an important point, and hence he speak those good amount of verses at a stretch, and convinces Arjuna that he's not this body and he's a spirit soul. His the spiritual is his nature, and his identity, his atman or soul. Now, so, and there could be some, now this could be, this was an example of verses appearing in a sequential manner. Consequent verses appears to explain a particular theme, but at times we see that in Bhagavad Gita that the instructions are repeated after a gap, after a certain gap, and those instructions, the repetition is also valid. As and when the circumstances arise in a conversation, Krishna is re-emphasizing on the particular point, and so we'll see some of those examples as well in today's discussion. So either way, the instructions are important. Those instructions which get repeated are most important, and the conclusive instructions are the topmost important. So instructions which appears just once or twice does not have any further emphasis, are not refuted or not bettered by Lord by some argument later, then those instructions need not be studied. If instructions like हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गम जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महिम तस्मात् उत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृत निश्चया. Where Krishna is saying that hatova, if you die in this war, this comes as very early stage of Bhagavad Gita, is 2.37th verse. When Krishna is saying that essentially, then this is also instruction given by Krishna. Is not an informative verse. It's an instructive verse. He's ordering practically to Arjuna, saying that Tasmat Uttishta Kante. Uttishta is get up, O Arjuna, and Yuddhaya Kriti Nishchaya, fight with determination. And now, what is the basis for this determination? He's saying that you will always enjoy. What means Hatova Prapsasi Swargyam. If you die in this war while fighting, you will attain Swarga. And Swarga, what does Swarga contain? Swarga contains superior material sense gratification. So you will enjoy there. If you win, for example, then you will enjoy the rivalry less kingdom, a kingdom where there are no rivals only. Sometimes it is said that Narendra Modi is enjoying opposition-less rule. There's practically no opposition to him, and he's practically has the complete authority over the affairs. He's got such a huge majority. So whatever. So oppositionless kingdom, or that kind of a kingdom you can enjoy. So uh, what it means is then you will enjoy uninterruptedly, because if there is a opposition, the opposition may attack our kingdom, and then the king may have to forgo his enjoyment and go and fight a war to protect his kingdom. Otherwise his kingdom will be eaten up by various enemies. But without opposition kingdom means there is no need for going anywhere and fighting a war, which means all the time is available for sense gratification, enjoyment, and that is the benefit of having a opposition-less kingdom. So, but if somebody stop reading Bhagavad Gita after this verse, Hatova 2.37, then this will not give him the correct message. We heard in the previous Sunday session that this was not repeated by Krishna anywhere. He spoke this verse in reply to a specific query by Arjuna about enjoyment, and to which he's saying that you can enjoy either way. Even if you win, you can enjoy. Even if you die, you can enjoy. So why there is a question of enjoyment or lack of enjoyment for that matter? So so Arjuna is now. So this is the. So this is so. So this is not, so this particular instruction is not repeated, and hence this is not very important. So we don't pay too much focus on these kind of verses which does not reappear in the Bhagavad Gita subsequently. There's no, which are not, this is not refuted. The concept per se is not refuted, or a better concept is not presented. If better concept is presented than the previous concept, then obviously uh, the significance of previous concept goes away or reduce us substantially. So we should not really pay too much attention to it. For example, there were some manual processes which are mechanical processes. हाथ से हवा लेते थे, पहले पंखा आता था, हाथ से हवा लेते थे. Then we discovered fan, and now we switch on fan and discovered electricity. Uh, it start giving us air continuously. We don't have to move our hand. So moving hand, though this was useful when this was the only means available for taking a little air, feeling cooler. Once fans are discovered, this loses its importance unless there is electricity go off and there's no electricity coming back for next 24 hours. We will not figure out how to otherwise take air, how to feel cooler. So the concept which are not repeated can be paid less attention to or can be ignored as well. What we are also trying to do simultaneously is to create a learning chart for us, a learning chart which will tell us what are we going to do with these instructions. The instructions which are we are receiving is fine, but uh, what exactly I'm supposed to do with it, and can there be anything, how we can summarize them in a easy to understand manner, and that's what we are going to look at today. I've done this for some of the verses that we've studied in the previous Sunday session, and we'll just take a quick look at these and then move forward with current today's verses. So you all can see the screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's visible, right? Should I enlarge it, or this is sufficient for readable?
Yes, Prabhuji, readable. So, but if someone is using specs, it can be enlarged a bit.
All right. All right. So we have having this. So first theme, we last Sunday we discussed a few verses on surrender, And it all started with the 2.7th verse where Krishna says, Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna, saying that Shishyaste aham shadhi matvam prapannam. I'm becoming your disciple and I'm requesting you to instruct me to what to do on about my duty. And why it is happening? Because of the bewildered state of mind. We will look at mind per se as a topic later, but right now we are ignoring that part of this verse, and we are focusing on the last section of this verse where Arjuna says that Shishyaste aham shadhi matvam prapannam. I'm a surrendered soul for you, and you please instruct me about what is good for me, what is my dharma. Now, this verse, basis this verse, we have drawn some learnings and we have drawn some practical application. The learning, there are a series of verses which we looked at. If you go starting on 2.7, 4.2, then there are verses where 4.3 parampara speak about parampara, then the uh, how disciple and guru has a relationship, bhakto sime sakha chiti. So then only guru reveals his heart. Tadvidi pranipatan is a classic verse. Whatever a disciple has to do is explained very beautifully there. And then what guru will speak is not generic knowledge which is known to everyone, but at times he will he will speak confidential knowledge which a disciple is expected to hear attentively. Touch Shruno. Shruno is now here. Then what kind of knowledge? It can be not a generic knowledge, but also a guhyatamam knowledge, very secret knowledge. Which knowledge could be secretive? We'll take a look at that. And so this is flow. We are following the flow of Bhagavad Gita, wherein these verses appear, which talks about the theme that we are discussing as a surrender. Then 13.26, where Krishna says that not only just don't only hear, also act on that what you have heard. If you're attending a class, and if some class contain every class contains some instructions for us, try and follow those instructions, try and act on those instructions. Don't just hear and do nothing about it. What's the use of doing it? So hear and act, and that's what is explained in the 13.26 verse. Basis this, we've drawn some learnings, which is like we need a teacher or a guide to learn any skill in the material world. So is true for learning devotional topics. Now, devotional topic is bhakti. We are all in the bhakti practitioners. We are practicing bhakti yoga. We are practicing devotional service, Krishna consciousness, and we are part of this. And we need a guide. We need a mentor. We need a teacher. Just like we need a teacher for us to qualify in IPL, or get selected in IPL, or get selected in Indian cricket team, or win medals for country in badminton, hockey, or whatever group, individual sport, group sport, or even to come first in MBBS, or come first in my engineering exams, something, anything, something or anything, right from a small child to a PhD seeker. Everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs a guru, a teacher, and that teacher one has to accept. And in order, if he has any desire to learn anything in his life, to become better person in his life, so we need a teacher no matter what topic we want to learn. It is true for material topics, it is true for a spiritual subject as well. So we need a devotee to guide us on the spiritual path. What is the practical application? We should look for and closely held on to a relationship with devotees who are guiding us on the in the subject matter of bhakti or devotional service. The learning, what next learning is, goal of our devotee guide is to remove things. What should this devotee guide or a mentor should do for us? He should he should give us directly Krishna. He should not uh, get him come in between us and Krishna, but he should remove things which are there in between us and Krishna. And what could be the things which are there in between us and Krishna? Our plans, our ego, our desires, our attachments. Now, these are the things which are preventing us from going to Krishna. So, Guru's job is to clean these things up, and engage us in devotional service, by which our heart can be purified, by which all these things can become immaterial for us. If we they don't entangle us the same way that they used to earlier. And that effect is something that can be seen by experienced by everyone. And once that happens, then one can follow devotional service, perform devotional service in a very wholehearted way, very easy. The devotional service becomes very easy for such a person. So devotee has to devotee or a friend who is a spiritual master has to do this action and remove things which are there in between us and Krishna. What should be our response when devotees try to do this? We should be prepared for transformation or change from our current condition, just like a sick patient wants to change after undergoing a particular treatment from a doctor. So what does it mean? Basically, when we come to bhakti, we should come with an expectation that our heart will be transformed and our lifestyle will be transformed, and we should be ready to embrace this change. If we resist this change, then our progress in bhakti will be permanently checked for the current lifetime, and we may have to start from where we left in the current one. Why? Because just like a sick person just does not want to hear about sickness. If a person has been infected with, say, malaria, he does not want any lecture on malaria, that what type, how many types of malarias are there in the world, and which malaria happens because of which insect, and what is the severity of that malaria, how many, is malaria fatal or is malaria curable, and so on and so forth. Then we can give X n amount of information, if we want to, about a disease, but just by knowing about the disease, I will not get cured by from that disease. So I should be prepared for a transformation. When I want to undergo a treatment with somebody, I have to be ready for transformation, and that should be our objective, and that should be, if we are ready for that, then we will not resist the changes that will come along with the bhakti will challenge our ideas about many conceptions which we probably have created using our mental concoction, or heard some wrong information from somewhere, and which just need to be corrected. And if we are not ready for correction, accepting correction, then we will fight out for that correction, and we will be the loser, because what we believe, or whatever our belief could be, and from whomsoever it must have come from, famous celebrity, famous Bollywood actor, famous sports star, famous politician must have spoken like this, or anybody whom we respect in the society has spoken this. But if unless it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, it does not have significance, it does not important, and everything is subject to change, because only Lord is perfect and his knowledge is perfect. And as long as we repeat what Lord has spoken, we are in the safe zone. The moment we start diverting from the what Lord has spoken this, but I think he made a mistake by while speaking, and he meant this instead of this. When we start doing anything jugglery like this, then we should know that we are out of sync with Krishna. We are not in sync with Krishna, and hence we are on the wrong path. So we should not preach that wrong path to anybody. Neither we should practice it ourselves. It is not going to be beneficial. So it's like a dummy post office, or cancelled post office is not useful. May look like a post office, but it's not useful for delivering later, because nobody is going to come and pick up letters from that post box. But if it's active authorized post box, then that makes sense to people, and they will be able to actually ensure the delivery of their packet to their loved one, whomsoever they want to send it. So that is the problem, that is the difficulty that we have with wrong devotees and right guru and wrong guru. A spiritual master, uh, the next point is humility is first and last word in bhakti. We must remain humble at all time while inquiring. and learning and practicing devotional service. So we need to inquire, we need to learn, and we could practice. And in learning can happen through observing or hearing directly about the devotional matter, like just now how we are doing it right now. And then practicing whatever we hear, we have to put that into practice so that we can experience spiritual joy, we can experience spiritual bliss, which can then further increase our desire to go back to Krishna, to go back to spiritual world. If we can properly value role of a devotee in our life, then only we can easily remain humble at all times. Now this is very important point. Now we all want to remain humble, but remaining humble is not easy. When Krishna provide us whatever we desire, then naturally the greed comes in, and or pride comes in. Either case, we our humility has gone for a toss, whatever comes. But and whenever there are reversals happening in our life, many times a reversal in our life brings a you know a resentment and blame game that begins, which means again we are going away from Krishna. We are not pure in our heart or in our approach, and that impure state, we cannot really perform bhakti effectively. We may be chanting, but we are not, our heart is not in the chanting. We are we're just looking at Krishna as our competitor, competitor for enjoyment, competitor for acquiring things, and he's not giving. That's why I don't have it. If he wants, he can give. He has given it to so and so, not given to me, and whatever arguments we may come up with. But that is but that can be very dangerous. That so that we can lose humility in either case. By get when we get what we desire, when we don't get what we desire, in either case, if our approach is not proper, then we it's very difficult to be remain humble in that situation. uh, what should we do then, as a practical application? A close trusted senior devotee can tell us, are we humble enough, or do we need to work on this aspect? Now, at times, by speaking difficult words or giving challenging tasks, or the senior devotee will test if we actually have become humble, and if we can remain humble in tough situations, in difficult situations. Now, that's where the humility is tested, when you're under pressure, when things are not fully in your control, when things are you seems to be going out of control, and can you still remain humble? Can you still give credit of your achievements to Krishna? Can you still not start blame game, because of this that happened, because of this that happened, and so on and so forth? So uh, now this is a very important test that we may have to be ready to appear to give, and that our devotees might conduct upon us. So when it's not just sufficient to have a desire to be humble, but also require us to practice humility, and that is not always easy. Surrender. Next point, we have taken the spiritual master or devotee give guide or teaches basis the parampara. Nobody can manufacture philosophy. Nobody can manufacture a religion or a religious practices. Everything has to be defined in parampara. Evam parampara praptam, evam rajarshaya vidu. That knowledge, if guru is proper or senior devotee is proper, then he will speak out of parampara. He will not speak out of my own mind, because your own mind cannot produce anything worthy of following. And hence we need to make sure that the devotee guide who is teaching us is connected with some parampara from where he has acquired knowledge properly, and which he is trying to pass on. So that's a very important point, and we should be this should be applied in general also. When we hear YouTube videos, when we search on, we should not search on videos or YouTube videos. Rather, we should, when if we at all have free time, we should ask our senior devotees which lectures to be heard, which Maharaj to be heard, which Prabhus to be heard. We can't decide that on our own basis the Google search. engine, which may throw up good, bad, or ugly side or kind of not talks which can harm our bhakti, which can create doubts in our bhakti. So we have to be very careful about to whom we hear, about whom we associate with. So devotees again need to be very devotees with whom we are trying to associate should be connected with some proper authentic parampara, and they should be practicing what they are teaching. If they are not somehow practicing, then again, we should not pay too much attention to such gurus, because if they have no faith, if they have no faith in what they are teaching, which because of which they are not able to practice it with commitment, then it's not good. This such knowledge is not going to really be helpful for us. Even if we may learn it, we will also remain uncommitted, just like our guru or just like our teacher, mentor. So the practical application is the spiritual knowledge is given in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, are essence of all Vedic knowledge. And anyone who speaks about Krishna, spiritual topic or Bhakti Yoga must accept authority of these scriptures and speak with reference to them only. One should not try to project that everything is thought by him. He people may choose concepts from or take concepts from Bhagavad Gita and they may try to sell them as their own concept. That's cheating to Krishna, cheating with Krishna, cheating with the parampara, and hence one should not really do that. We should we can find out who is doing it or not doing it basis how much he is affectionate to his guru, how much grateful he is to Prabhupada, how much grateful he is to Lord Krishna, how committed he is to Lord Krishna and Prabhupada, their mission. Knowing this, we can figure out what is their position. Surrender has other point. There are general instructions given from Vyasasana to all attendees in the class, and there are personalized instructions which are given. When personalized instructions come, when we open up, when we inquire in humble submissive mood from with a devotee, from our devotee mentor, then what happens when we inquire like this? We must attentively hear the general instruction and know which of these we can apply and which of these we cannot apply. We will struggle to apply, and wherever we have a struggle, we should open up to those devotees and ask for personalized implementation instructions, so that we can now this to be done confidentially. This need not be or should not be done in an open class. For this to happen, the confidential discussion to happen, we should have some kind of a relationship with our mentor or a teacher or a devotee friend through whom we expect to get this knowledge. And once they see our sincerity, they will agree to give that knowledge to us. So further, there we wherever we struggle with such implementation, we should confidentially connect with guru and or teacher and inquire, and then we should value bhakti or devotional service, fully knowing that it can save us from the cycle of repeated birth, and hence follow all the instructions with faith and commitment. Next learning is for getting personalized attention, we must inquire humbly and render personal service to such devotee. Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashnana Seva. There's a beautiful dedicated verse for that, which we discuss. Devotees can reveal knowledge to us with personalized instructions. So at times, when they get pleased with the Narad Muni got pleased with Vyasdev in the Bhagavatam first canto, and then he start telling Vyasdev how Narad Muni came to bhakti, how he became devotee, and what was his background. Now that was not a flow of question that was asked by even Vyasdev, but Narad wanted to reveal that so that why that shows more affection by Guru to his disciple, and it shows that if Guru has also not got it for free, he had to work hard for it, and his condition was also could have been worse than what Vyasdev's condition was. And it was indeed, he was such a small boy who got in connected with Bhakti Siddhantas along with his mother. He served those Bhakti Siddhantas, got instructions from them, and then perfected his life in this birth. And the next birth, he appeared as Narad Muni. So guru, these are secret. This is confidential information. This is not available on Facebook and WhatsApp. So our teacher, our mentors can reveal this to us if they become happy with us. So these are some learnings and practical application points which I've compiled. I'll share this Excel file also with everyone. The next topic we discussed was that of soul, and so we'll quickly revise this. I'll not go through each and every point which you can read later, but principal point that we spoke about is that the this concept comes immediately after in the 12th verse, where Arjuna is refusing to fight, giving a reason that he does not want to kill his relatives and friends and family members, and his vilap or his lamentation is at a bodily level. He's looking at those bodies and he's thinking they are my relatives. Now, when you have material consciousness, you obviously lack spiritual consciousness. And Krishna wants to bring in that spiritual consciousness into Arjuna. And immediately starts speaking these verses which describe who we really are. We are in reality spirit soul. We are spiritual sparks and we are part and parcel of Krishna, but we are separated part and parcel of Krishna. So why we are separated? Because we had desires to enjoy independently than Krishna. Then when we get a desire to enjoy independently of Krishna, we no longer um, we no longer become a misfit in the spiritual world, and from where we are then sent into the material world, where everybody is trying to enjoy Krishna's property without Krishna, and that's the position of everyone. So so we come here basically for that reason, for the purpose of enjoyment. But our true nature still remains to be spiritual. We are in foreign land, but we are uh, our original our original component has not undergone any change. And what we are doing, we are acquiring body, because if we have desires stored in our mind, software of our mind, we need hardware of body to uh, to release those desire, to fulfill those desire, and that is given to us according to our desires. And affordability comes from the karma, currency of karma, that we can afford to pay. And accordingly a suitable body is given to us, which will help us suffer or enjoy our fructified karmas for this lifetime. Now, this is a simple way in which Krishna explains that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. We have a mind and material body to function in this world, but uh, but this mind and material body are not eternal. Our form will change. Our form changes during current lifetime, from boyhood to youth to old age, and at the end of this lifetime, we simply come out of one body and enters into another body and start the whole process again. What is the practical application for this? If we understand and get convinced about the fact that we are spirit soul and not this body, then we can function properly for the benefit of the soul. All our actions can be then directed to for the pleasure of the soul and not only the body. The body is important. Body needs to be maintained, because the soul can satisfy his desire only within the framework of body. Without the framework of body, soul will be lost. So body needs to be maintained. Body is important, but body is not all important. Just like a person gets into IIM course, he's for him passing IIM is important. Eating in IIM, though it is necessary, it is not all important. Sleeping in IIM, though campus for 2 years, is required but not all important. So you should make reasonable arrangements for these activities, eating, sleeping, and recreational activities. But its primary focus should be on study to get the qualification to get out of this university or college, and that should be his meditation, not the other way around. Okay, so we make so many arrangements for enjoyment. We in the world, we purchase a home, we decorate it nicely, we purchase a new car, again we plan for a big dream location, we plan for a big house, uh, and so on so forth. We've been making so many plans for our purpose, assuming that this world is going to be with us forever, and suddenly we leave it all behind and get out and get lost from the current body into another body. Now, if we have good understanding of soul, then we'll not really make so many arrangements for leading a perfect life in this material world, because our life can never become perfect in the material world, because that is how the nature of this whole world is. So we can deal with this world only to the extent necessary and not unnecessarily. Another important learning is soul is experiencing changes. We can understand that this changing body being the nature can help us not get too much attached to our body, not unnecessarily waste time is decorating it or do anything to maintain it. But we must do everything to maintain it in healthy condition, knowing that it is a tool useful for fulfilling our ultimate objective for going back to Krishna. So if we want to go back to Krishna, the same body has to be used. If we want to enjoy our independently of Krishna, the same body is useful. So becomes like a tool, just like a knife in the hand of surgeon can become very useful and valuable, but the same knife in the hand of a thief or a murderer can become very fatal for a common person who is become his about to become his victim. So a body is a tool, just like a knife is a tool, body is a tool. How we use it, success depends on that. If we are able to use it for going close to Krishna or getting out of this material world, then our body is successful. If we use it only for increasing our karmic entanglements, then the body is been wasted. Our body and lifetime must be used to purpose. Now, how should we utilize our time on this planet as long as we are there, because reincarnation is also guaranteed. So we should use our body and lifetime for re-establishing our lost loving relationship with Krishna, developing loving vertical relationship. Now we're talking about vertical relationship and then horizontal relationships. Our vertical relationship for every soul is with Krishna, and we should that's our primary goal. And horizontal relationships are with devotees, our family members and close friends, and others, neighbors, uh, fellow countrymen, and fellow the world is kutu, the whole world is my kutumba, and whatever all the things are horizontal relationship. They just go on and on and on. But my vertical relationship is primary and prominent and should be the focus point of our life. So all our horizontal relationships, as long as they help us with our vertical relationship, are fine, are considered to be healthy. Moment any horizontal relationship become an obstruction for our vertical relationship with Krishna, that's when the problem starts. And there we have to prioritize our vertical relationship with Krishna, and then give away some of those horizontal relationship which are becoming obstruction or a problem for us to be Krishna conscious. And if we cannot somehow give it away, then deal with them only to the extent absolutely necessary. Don't get over entangled with them. Don't take association of them from them, otherwise this can become very challenging. Our whole progress in spiritual life can get washed out if we associate with wrong people today. Soul not body, the reincarnation is real, happen with everyone, even though some remember it, some don't remember it. Even if one case is proven of reincarnation, then it becomes irrefutable evidence against the argument that there's no we live only once. No, that's a wrong argument. And anybody, it's a convenient argument maybe for those who does not want to perform austerity in their life of performing japa, doing sadhu puja, performing devotional service, hearing Krishna katha. They all want to become Krishna in one sense, and they are all jealous of Krishna, and hence they come up with these kind of ideas that there's no Krishna, there's no God, and whatever we live only once, which means there's no law of karma in action. Because if there is no you, if you can live in the once and after this life you go to heaven, in that case whatever you do while you are alive has no significance, and therefore there is no impetus, inspiration for you to act well. In our common sense also we understand that when you are expected to act nobly. When you act well, you get reward from government, give some special rewards for saving lives of people in flood or in general fire and all that. But because why? Because that is considered to be a noble action. Not that somebody is dying, just go and kill him so that he die faster. No, that's not considered to be a proper way. You are expected to save, you are expected to feed hungry, you are expected to save the person who is about to die. And it, even if it means saving the body, is also not considered to be completely irrelevant, because saving body is necessary. As long as body exists, the soul can function, and soul can make choices to become Krishna conscious and go close to Krishna. At the moment body ends, body's journey ends, or soul gives up body for some reason, stupid reason, then until soul is given new body, soul has to wander without body, in a bodiless form, which is very dangerous, or very ghastly situation, where you have all the desires with you but you have no physical body to fulfill those desires. Now that's very desperate kind of a situation that we might land ourselves into if you don't make right choices. I couldn't prepare this simultaneously. So what I'm going to do this time is that I'll be noting down some of these points as they come up in the discussion. Topic for today, which we'll start with, is that of tolerance. And Krishna speaks about tolerance for the first time in the 14th verse of second chapter, where Krishna says that, in general, Krishna says in this theme that remain equipoised in happiness, distress, profit, loss, honor, dishonor, treat equally all the jewels, gold, a stone, a cow, dog, and dog eater, and brahmanas, everyone equally. Now this is kind of a expectation. And expectation is that we should be completely tolerant. In even if you get a gold, you should not become overjoyed. Even if you get a stone, you should not be overjoyed. Honor and dishonor, apaman, manapaman, again should remain equipoised. Now this is a expectation by Krishna, that and starts with this third the verse 14th verse in the second chapter, saying that tolerate to Arjuna, performing prescribed duty. You may come across a likable and unlikable situation, which will give you either happiness or distress. And you should not perform action only for when you get happiness. You should perform right actions in all the cases. And even if you're not getting the desired result, you should still be performing those actions, correct actions. And so, for example, the Arjuna wanted to kill his, for the purpose of performing his actions, prescribed duty. Arjuna wanted to kill his relatives. Now, this was unpleasing to him, but Krishna is saying, still do it. It's if it's your duty, you should do it, no matter how you feel about it. Now, your feelings, you keep those your feeling subordinate and rise above your feeling and do your actions. Now this is a very grave instruction. This is a very difficult instructions to follow, and all the series of verses subsequently which appear are all little technical in nature, and they, so we should understand this point very clear, very properly, that why is it that Krishna wants us to tolerate? Why? What is the mood in which Krishna is instructing that please tolerate? Like last time, we will run through these verses, and we will stop for noting down the, like, the general learnings and the practical applications. This again, from our point of view, at our level of devotional service, this may appear to be a little difficult, but we can look at some case studies from Bhagavatam, where we see this being practiced by devotees actually. and we can talk about those as well. So 14th verse, Krishna says, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance and happiness, desires of happiness and distress, and their appearance and disappearance of happiness and distress are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. They arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Next verse we'll review 2.38, where Krishna says, giving similar instruction: Sukhe dukhe same krutva labha lobho jaya jaya. Treat everything uh, equally. Do not fight for winning only, and winning, losing, labh, profit, loss, jay, parajay. Treat them all equally and just do your duty. As a matter of duty, you fight, and you should not worry about the outcome. 2.48, you beautiful verse. Yogastha kuru karmani sangatyaktva dhananjaya sadhya siddhyo samobhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. That perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to the success or failure. And such equanimity is called yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. So 2.56, another beautiful verse comes. Dukheshvu anudvignamana sukheshu vigata spruha vitaraga bhaya krodha sitadhir muni uchyate. How can you become sitadhir muni? Where when you can dukheshvu anudvigna. Udvigna means agitated. Udvigna and anudvigna means non-agitated. When dukha, because of dukha से आपका मन उद्विग्न नहीं होता है, और सुख से आप बहुत स्पृहा नहीं करते हो. So vigata spruha. It does not become overly joyful, overly happy. Then such person vitaraga bhaya krodha sitadhir can become sitadhir muni. Need to become a muni so that your intelligence remains steady. You can become fixed in sattva guna and then transcend to shuddha sattva, which is bhakti. 5.10 verse, important verse again. uh, where Krishna says that the one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, and like a lotus is untouched by water. Lotus leaf is untouched by Padma Patram Ivam Bhasa. So lipyatena sa papena Padma Patram Ivam Bhasa. So Padma Patra is a leaf of lotus plant which remains in the water but remains dry. Now, this should be our contact. This is how we should connect with the material world. We should remain in the material world because we have no choice. Right now, we are all have landed up into the material world. So, but we should try to remain as much as possible like a leaf of lotus plant which remains dry even though it is in the water. You remove from the water and it becomes dry instantly. It's always practically dry. This is how our dealings with material world should be. There could be dealings which are unavoidable at practical level, but our those dealings need not be very intimate, very nectarian. If they are nice, but otherwise they're not, and they should not really cause any pain to us, knowing fully that this is all happening under the influence of law of karma. So we should deal with the material world just how we deal with the how a lotus flower or lotus plant's leaf deals with water. 5.18, विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणा कवि हस्तिनी शुनि शुनि चैव शपाकेन pandita samadarshina. Now the humble sage, a pandita. Who is a pandita? A pandita is the one who see everyone equally, and that's the mood. And then 6.7th verse, for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached. For he has attained tranquility. Now, to such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor, dishonor are all the same. Now, if it is not, how can we judge? Because the moment man and apman is something that people cannot resist reacting. The road rage happens. It's all happens because of apman or insult that one feels that other person has committed towards him, and because of which they get into argument, leads to fight, can lead to murders at many times. So so it's very it's very dangerous. So but that's all but Krishna is saying that if you can, but Krishna is recommending the other way around, that you should have ability to face all this and still remain undisturbed, and then only you can progress on the subject matter of bhakti. So these are some of the verses which we have picked up. Now it's again, as I said, it's important to understand why is Krishna asking us to tolerate. Now asking us to tolerate is not an act of cowardness. This toleration is required for performing our prescribed duty. Prescribed duty that is at a level of soul is with serving, loving and serving Krishna, doing as per the instructions given by Krishna, acting according to the instructions given by Krishna is our primary prescribed duty. Secondary prescribed duties could be taking care of our country, our family, and our loved ones, and then the society in general. Those could be the secondary primary, say, secondary duties. But while performing these duties, we it's our goal is a goal of life is to attain Krishna, attain the love for Krishna, and attain Krishna ultimately. And anything, any small things mm, which uh, which affect or which comes in between us and our purpose should not be paid too much attention to. So if we are going somewhere and rushing somewhere for a very important meeting, the small temptations will not allure you. If you're going for a multi-billion million dollar contract to sign somewhere, uh, a small kulfi shop here and there, which promise so much pleasure to us, will not really tempt us, because then we will have a single-minded focus that I have to reach for this meeting, where our company is expected to sign a $1 billion deal or $1 million deal, on which we have worked on this particular contract for such a long time, and it's going to be the it's going to be the most important deal of my company, my career move, and there is so much at stake. And in this mood, when we are going from traveling from one place to another place, in between whatever comes, we'll not pay much attention to. Even if a favorite kulfi shop comes on the way, favorite restaurant comes on the way, temple come on the way, this, that, whatever comes, we will simply keep a single-minded focus on getting that deal done, and we will not really pay much attention. Even though these things promises instant pleasure to us, we will still not pay much attention to it. So this is those small temptations which come from a ice cream shop or a cake shop or a restaurant are to be tolerated, because they are disturbing. Because I want that ice cream, I want that cake also, I want that the favorite dish, my favorite dish from this particular restaurant also, but not at this point of time. At this point of time, my focus is going to that place and signing the deal, sealing that deal. So I will going to tolerate these small urges which come upon me for these small indulgences. When my big picture is clear, tolerating these small urges becomes easier. When my big picture is not clear, every small thing will distract me. So if I have to, when I have my exams tomorrow, the what's happening around, unless it's alarming, or unless it's unless it's something huge, it will not bother me. India winning or losing against Bangladesh, that will not bother me. But on other day, it might bother me. Because I have nothing else to do, and then I can take that room, call five of my friends, and we can talk for have a 1 hour talk on how India could have played better, or how Bangladesh could have played better, or so on and so forth. So, but not now. When I'm having exam tomorrow, I'm having a single-minded focus. I don't even want to care about who won, or I may just take a look at the headline that India won or India lost or whatever, and then just keep it aside and not give it more thought. Not that I am suddenly disliking cricket, or not that my hobbies have changed, but my focus has changed. And my focus right now is going appearing for exam next day, or doing something of great significance to myself, for which I don't want any distractions. So tolerance means greater focus on the end objective, and when we have greater focus on our end objective of our life, we can become tolerant for many small disturbances which may come from all directions. And so this is so when we say we have to tolerate, then is that the first step? No, that's not the first step. We have to accept the situation without resentment. For example, if we were to if we are planning for a yatra, we are planning for a yatra in February, in end of February, 23rd of February till 26th February. Now we've been assume we have been planning for this yatra for a long time, and we've been coordinating with all devotees, all 30 40 of you. We want to talk with everybody, talking with everybody to make sure that they all come for the yatra, they all do their booking, and everyone comes, every all three or 35 of you agrees to come for the yatra, do your booking for the train fare or the airfare, and guest houses are booked, everything is set. Now on the day of yatra, one day prior to that, I fall sick, suppose, and I may fall sick, and then I'm doctor may advise me not to travel, what to speak of. But now I've done everything. I've done everything for yatra. I'm so excited to go for yatra, and but one day prior I fall sick, and doctor advised me not to go for yatra. Now the everyone else, all 34 of you have gone for yatra, and now you've been sending pictures and posting them in our WhatsApp group, and I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling sad because I wanted so desperately this yatra to happen, and now yatra is happening, and I'm sad, and then I curse myself. I'm resentful about myself, that why should it happen to me? I've been serving so nicely, and if it's Krishna's sanction, then why is he sanctioning wrong things? He should have sanctioned good healthy day for me, so that I also can go to Vrindavan and along with all the devotees, and I can do what they are doing. I can be part of that kirtan party. I can be taking prasad with them. I can be having fun with these devotees. I can be having sharing a joke or sharing a katha with this particular group of devotee. And I could have done so much, but because of this fever or whatever the sickness, I am not able to go. But everybody else has gone, and so it has happened to me, and I feel very bad about it now. Having felt bad, now the fever will give some pain. If suppose I'm suffering by fever, now fever will, at a bodily level, fever will cause some pain to me. But when I'm resentful about my situation, or what has happened to me, I'm making my situation worse, that there is a some degree of pain that will be there when I get fever, and anybody gets fever, but I'm multiplying it by thinking that why did I got it alone? Why only I am being victimized? And then my pains will increase. There will be pains caused by fever, and there will be pains caused by my mind. And then that will make me more painful. So, why we are talking about this is because uh, for tolerance of risk, we cannot tolerate with resentment. We have to tolerate, and first step is to accept the situation as is, without resentment, accept situation without resentment. Then what we can still do is we can do what we can do in that situation, and in every situation we can do something about it. Every situation can be improved a little bit. So for example, if a yatra is that of 15-day yatra, and then today is the first day on which I could not join the group, but I can immediately go to the doctor and get cured in the next 2 3 days, and then join the yatra for the later part of that yatra. That option always exists. So I should not, just because things are not according to happening according to my plan, I should just not switch off from the situation. I should still try to do what best I can do in every given situation. I should still try to do what best I can do in every given situation. I can improve every situation. I can do something to improve whatever situation I could be in. There is nothing. There's nothing impossible, and there's no such a hopeless situation might exist that where we have no ability to do anything. Absolutely. uh, um, and um, then last option is tolerate. So once you accepted the situation without resentment, without you don't will not be feeling happy about it. For example, if you have got fever while 34 of you have gone for yatra, obviously you don't have to feel happy about it, but all you can do is that you can just be thankful to Krishna that you got fever before departure, so that your yatra, otherwise you could have suffered enormously in yatra. And now you have been offered an opportunity to get cured yourself and then go for yatra towards the end of this yatra, and then still enjoy with achieve whatever you wanted to achieve. But had it happened during the yatra, probably our suffering could have been more. So we can be thankful. We need not be resentful to Krishna. We can be, in fact, contrary, we can be thankful to Krishna for whatever situation we might have been in today. And then we can be we can be thankful, we can do what best we can do, and then we last option is to tolerate, because after having done whatever we could have done, there is nothing more we can do. And then if the situation is still not favorable, we have to tolerate. So the tolerance is not the first option but the last option, but it's an important option, and we should have very open head for the performing that action. And there will be multiple situations in which we'll have to tolerate. Who all have tolerated in the past? Kunti Maharani and Pandavas have tolerated. uh, Bhishmadev in his prayer explains that you are so, you are dear to Brahmanas and Lord Krishna himself, but still you had to tolerate as part of, as per the will of the, as per the will of the Supreme. Now, why Supreme is willing against his dear devotees? Because that was part of pastime. Why Krishna will against our desire? Because that is part of our karma. We are not living pastimes here. Pandavas were pastimes. Whatever the Pandavas were, they were their life was a pastime. Whole life was part of the Krishna's pastime, overall pastime, and they all had their roles to play, and they played those roles to the perfection. If Yudhishthir Maharaj has a role to become king, he becomes king because it was service for Krishna. If Bhimsen was given a service to become very powerful warrior and killed 100 sons of uh, Gandhari and Dhritarashtra, he did that as a service to Krishna. As Arjuna also became a Gandhivdhari Arjun and killed all prominent warriors in the battle of Kurukshetra, become famous for his virata. And Krishna says that the nimitta matra bhava savyasachi. He says that you're only nimitta, but you become nimitta. I'm okay. And accordingly, Arjuna takes away all the credit for winning the war. Now everything is tolerance. The Yudhishthir Maharaj ruling kingdom is a tolerance. Bhima becoming famous warrior is a tolerance. Arjuna getting all the credit for winning this war is also a tolerance. And same way, undergoing various life-threatening event in the Pandavas' life is also tolerance. So the tolerance need not be only towards bad thing happening to us, according to us, or it is equally applicable. Equally should be applied when we good things happen to us. So bad thing when the Lakshagra happened, when the Krishna came as a Shanti Dut, the Pandavas suffered quite a lot. Krishna was insulted. They tried to arrest Krishna. Now Arjuna could not tolerate. He can tolerate 100 insults to himself, but he could not tolerate Krishna is being insulted by Yuddharathan, the way he was insulted in the assembly. So, so they fought a war for the pleasure of Krishna, and that is their tolerance. They for tolerating for becoming a devotee, they had to tolerate so many hardships during their life, and they have to tolerate so many successes as well. So during hardships, they doesn't become resentful. During success, they doesn't become proud. They both way they remain equivalent, they remain equipoised, and they give credit to Krishna. They take blame for themselves, and the problem is with themselves. They could not serve Krishna, therefore the failures are there, and they kept improving. They thought they'll keep improving, and then but they never lost association of Krishna. They never stopped taking shelter of Krishna in any condition, in every condition. So this is the example which comes from Bhagavatam and Mahabharata. Another beautiful example is that of Prahlad Maharaj, who went through so much physical hardship, but he never stopped remembering Krishna. He never stopped taking shelter of Krishna, and even though so much hardship that he was put into, so he was equal. He was equal towards everyone. He was didn't have any enmity towards his father also, neither to those who are trying to torture him to death. Another example, beautiful example, is that of Srila Prabhupada. He failed in his mission to preach initially in India. When he left India at the age of 70, didn't had even one disciple. There was not one temple that he could say that he has constructed, and no institution that he could get created. He was associated with Gaudiya Math, but even those God brothers also were not willing to cooperate with him when he wanted to go, outside India and preach. So he had to suffer at every count. When he went to America, no resources, no association of people, um, no prasad available, contrast weather, very hard weather to survive. He had bare minimum facilities or practically no facilities. He was nobody to look up to, and no money. Now, all this is extremely grave situation for a 70-year-old person to survive in foreign condition, on practically on the streets of New York, where everywhere there were drug addicts, everywhere people were carrying guns, there were shootouts would happen for small stupid cause, and so on and so forth. So Prabhupada tolerated all this. Prabhupada later tolerated all success as well. When devotees started coming, Krishna turned things around. So Prabhupada, when things were not going as per his plan, Prabhupada just kept changing plans, kept making new plans, newer plans, thinking maybe this plan Krishna will like, maybe this plan Krishna will like, maybe this is what Krishna wants me to do. And his desire to serve never ended. There was not once an occasion where Prabhupada said, I don't want to serve Krishna. It's been giving me so much trouble. So Prabhupada is practical demonstration of how characters in Bhagavatam must have acted. Now, by looking at Prabhupada, we can easily figure out that whatever Prahlad Maharaj did is doable. Whatever Pandavas were patient and despite of the fact that they suffered so much, they were still patient, they were still joyful, they were still cheerful, and they were still worshipping Krishna. They never stopped taking shelter of Krishna, which means, and Prabhupada did the same thing in the Kali Yuga, just few years back. Which what it indicates is that this is doable. This is not just fictitious stories from Bhagavatam just for raising our moral standards. These were practical examples of how people acted in past in history, and how we can also act. Looking at the lifestyle of Srila Prabhupada, looking at the lifespan of Srila Prabhupada, it's very easy to understand that it is doable. It is doable in today's time as well. Otherwise we will not have any desire to practically follow these things. So these are the verses in this section. And so I'll just pause for some time just to see if anybody has any comment, any additional example they want to quote, and about the learnings. what we can learn from this section, by this instruction that Krishna is giving, that become tolerant. Bhakti is not easy. Bhakti, you have to become tolerant. What learning points that we can take, and what how we can practically apply these.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
So, as you have beautifully taken this conclusion now that tolerance, and before tolerance also, we need to see whether the cause is worthy of lamentation or not. And there could have been many outcomes or many possibilities of that particular cause, which is giving us the lamentation and on which we need to be tolerant. And you beautifully gave the example through the yatra example. So, as you beautifully explained that as we are not this physical body and we are the soul, and ultimately the soul is requiring us the spiritual credit or the spiritual endeavors or the devotional service to Krishna. So for that matter, whatever is coming in the way of body, or rather if we take it like that, whatever kind of miseries or whatever kind of joy we are feeling, those are coming in the materialistic world at the materialistic bodily level. So even if we are giving that the lamentation or hankering, that won't be serving the purpose of that we are trying to increase our spiritual credit so that we can go back to Godhead. So for that, if we are not actually following the purpose, which is the going back to Godhead, and we are just we are not understanding the first understanding, as you told, that we are the soul, not this body, then the tolerance will never come. But if we understand that and we uh, work for the purpose of upliftment of our soul, then we want these minor causes we won't be affecting us anymore on the bodily level. On the spiritual level, as you gave the example that I'm not able to attend the yatra because of some reason, because of some bodily discomfort or sickness or whatever it may be. So we will be finding a cause of that. This is done by Krishna for our betterment, and because I was not eligible to be in the devotional service of Krishna, and still he is so humble unto me, he is so merciful unto me that he has still provided me the facilities, the association of the devotees, the at least I was willing, I was having the desire to go for yatra. That mercy is also coming from Krishna. And when we come to this understanding, then only, in my opinion, then only we can become more and more tolerant. Then nothing will be bothering us much, and we will be practically seeing the hand of Krishna behind everything, and we
Correct.
will
So at a
surrender ourselves.
more at a practical level, all of us are practicing devotees, and as a practicing devotees, we are expected to get up early in the morning. Let's take very simple examples, and there will be situations where this will be challenge. We'll have challenge in getting up early. Again, we'll have to be tolerant, and some days, there will be some situations which will be simply beyond our control. And it could be our child has a morning picnic, early morning picnic, and that day we may just get up early, but we will have no time for japa. Or there could be many other situations we may think of, where it will be very difficult for us to do this basic thing that is expected to be done by every devotee, is to get up early in the morning and chant your rounds, stand at least 16 rounds, or at least maximum quota out of those 16 rounds, and maybe do few rounds later in the day. Now this is a basic need to be and remain a devotee, to chant your rounds early morning. This is like, no mountains need to be lifted here. It's not heavy lifting. This is fundamental, but this itself can be challenged. We can face challenges in doing this. We may have take up a job, so there will be tolerance required even for doing this small action as well. And at times, we may have a desire, but we may not be able to actually do this. Getting up simply, getting up early morning and join japa, join or complete our rounds. There could be, similarly, we are, expected to read scriptures. We are expected to attend, visit temples, attend all classes, follow all scriptures, follow all instructions of Bhagavad Gita. So we may face challenges. So anybody else wants to share anything, how they are facing their these challenges, because we because we are not able to do exactly as per all the instructions, and that there comes the moment where we may have a desire to do certain things, but the situations prevent us from doing those things, and that can cause agitation. Now this is at a very simple basic level also. We can have this. Anybody wants to share from personal experience, or you can give a generic answer, no need to give personal examples specific.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat
Yes,
Pranam.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhuji, you have explained that the challenges we face even if for chanting our regular rounds in the morning. So being a married female, I think this is very a common thing we face. Serving to the home, serving for husband, and making prasadam and all. So most of the time when your husband is going out in the morning, then we face these kind of challenges. So but then later on it gets more difficult, because whole day we have other duties are there, and sometimes we end up chanting very late night and it's not productive. So this is the challenge what I face.
Yeah, very nicely put, man. Very nice. Thank you for sharing this, Mataji. And very practical, right? Because if you're married, you're in a different home, and then you will have limited way in which you can execute your will. You may have a desire to join japa every morning at whatever 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, but the situations are not, you're not able to control all the situations around you, and then you'll be forced to do japa later. There also, again, there some level of tolerance is definitely required there. Very nice, thank you so much. What do we learn out of this? This is a learning that the tolerance will be required, and what practically we can apply, what we can apply practically, how we can look at the situation, how we can do those step one, step two, step three, that we accept the situation, we do what best we can, and then we tolerate. Nitu Mata, if you can just elaborate on that point as well, that now
Yeah.
you're in this situation where you're not able to, you want to, but you're not able to get up early in the morning, or get up in the morning but not join japa, or not being able to do japa. Then this is the first step, is you accept the situation. Second step can be do whatever best alternative that is available to you, explore that and do that. And third is tolerate. So how will you progress through this example?
So it's kind of difficult for me to explain, but still I will try that. What I do is, when if I'm not able to get up because I slept late night and I'm not able to get up in the morning. So if my husband is not around me, I whenever I get up, I first complete my rounds. That's what I do. And if he's around, if other duties are there, I finish it first and then I complete my round. So more or less, I just have to tolerate and just focus on completing my round as soon as possible. I maintain in that way.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, no, that's fine, and that's perfectly all right. That you have that guilt that you couldn't chant in the morning hours, but then as early as possible, the day
Yeah,
progresses, you try to finish the round.
yeah.
Wonderful. Very, very nice. Thanks for sharing, Mataji. Anybody
Thank
else?
you.
Hare Krishna. Vikas Roji, yeah, want to share something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. As you were asking for the practical, the example of some personal example, like uh, I sometimes perceive, not sometimes, rather every time I think that this is actually everything is the mercy of the devotees and the Krishna, which plays the most significant and important role. Like it so happened that Mataji, the Keshav's mother, she was not fine yesterday, and even Sham was not. Sham was down with some fever, and we were desiring to have the to go to visit temple on this first day on the to have the Mangala Aarti darshan of Lord. And eventually the circumstances were so built up like that. I thought it was practically impossible that now it won't end. It was uh, yesterday 9 p.m. So I thought that it won't be happening now. So everything was going on, but and I simply thought of that, my dear Lord Krishna, you don't want me that I should have your darshan in the morning on the Mangala Aarti, for the Mangala Aarti on the first Jan. So that is your desire. I'm fine with it, but it would have given me much joy if I would have come and have taken your darshan in the temple. So it so happened, and in after 1 hour, my wife came and she told me that we will be going and we will get up at 2:30, and I thought that it will be practically impossible to sleep 4 hours and to drive and then come back and everything and the kids all together. But eventually the strength comes automatically within. And I was hearing to some one Maharaj, and he was telling that Krishna is actually Krishna gives us the strength if we want to do some kind of spiritual services for him. So I could practically feel that those kind of practical things comes in, that practical strength comes in. But the practicality, when it is beyond our level, beyond our thinking, beyond our actions, their work is the mercy of Krishna and the devotees, and that I could feel with this event that happened just today. So that is one. If we are not if we are always finding it difficult that our actions are not making it, we can leave it to Krishna. I got that the practical learning point from this event that happened. That if this is the desire of Krishna, this will happen, and if we pray to him in the positive manner, like I am desirous of, if you will give, I'll be happy. Otherwise, I'm okay with it. I don't have any problem if you are not willing to me to have this happen, this particular action. So there actually the mercy of Krishna and the devotees, if we sincerely pray to them, then I have practically felt it that it works and it never lets you down. So
Yeah, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah, that's nice example. So Prabhuji wanted to stay. He wanted to book the he wanted to book a room in the guest house, Juhu guest house. They said it cannot be done, and then eventually he said, I'll drive down on the same day, early morning, and he came from all the way Belapur to Juhu and went back, and then his kid joined 8 a.m. japa session as well, and Prabhuji is back in this class at 11. So yeah, I mean, great endeavors attract great mercies. So we have to endeavor also sincerely, and Krishna is there. He can give us mercy as well, but this mercy also need to be tolerated. So we don't have to become overjoyed by his mercy. Ashwini Mataji, Hare Krishna. Yes, please explain.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. This is my first Zoom session I am attending, and I am just beginner. I just want to ask something, that if I have not taken Anugraha, can I start Japa? And second one is it compulsory to do Japa on Mala, or we can just do Japa my own without Mala?
Yeah, so very nice questions, Mataji. So Anugraha happens later. We call it initiation, and that comes later with committed chanting and service. We get when we perform those under devotees, under the guidance of senior devotees, we can get recommended for initiation, and we all should have a desire to get initiated and get connected formally with the parampara. So that is one. But without waiting for initiation, so for one of the qualifications for initiation is that you should be performing 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra for good amount of time, for few years of times. So obviously you need to start chanting immediately, and you can definitely chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are welcome to join our Zoom session in the which we conduct in the morning. Starts at 4:45, goes on till 7:30. So you can join this session and do your japa along with all the devotees, or you can do it at home. But it is always nice to be with the devotees to on the japa platform. So that's your questions. And what was your second question, Mataji?
My second question was, is it compulsory to do on Mala, or we can just do that without Mala also?
Sure. So it's better to because better to do it with a mala. So we know we are not skipping the beads. We actually have to chant it 108 times, and such 16 rounds need to be performed. So it's a elaborate activity. It takes about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a longish mantra, so it takes about nothing less than 2 hours minimum to for us to complete 16 rounds of 108 beads. So in situations where it is impossible for us to do japa with bead mala, jap mala, then we can say that we may do it without beads, but it is always better to have a proper structured approach towards chanting, and that requires us to chant on the beads. Okay.
Sir, right now my schedule is very hectic. There are two kids. Their school timing is 7 a.m. So in the morning, it is impossible for me to perform that 16 rounds. And whole day I am going to office and coming at 7:30. So is it okay if means it is in the part
Yeah.
or
So what we can do,
sometimes
Mataji,
in our
you
learning?
can, yeah, I'll just post my number on the WhatsApp chat and this Zoom chat. Sorry. Uh, what you can do, you can give me a call and we can discuss in more elaborate details how and
Okay,
best
sir.
what is the best way of you getting started with the sadhana. Is that fine? Yeah, you can
Okay,
just,
okay,
my name
fine.
is Mahapati Ramdas and this is my number 9819091701, and we can have this discussion then offline.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Okay, Mataji, thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah. Anybody else has any thought on the tolerance, or should we move to other next theme?
Prabhuji, Hari Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to add one point. I forgot to say that. So, just as I told, we face a lot of difficulties being in a married life. So, initially, when I was in Krishna consciousness, in my initial years, that time I used to do a lot of things like DT worship, chanting early morning, and all. But later on, how I got this understanding, this is also important. Serving your family members. This, like, I faced a lot of difficulties in relation when I was focusing more on this. So I was facing disturbance in my other relations, like relation with other family members. So by the understanding through devotees only, I got that you have to do that also. This two thing you have to manage. So that's what I started tolerated. Okay, I have to do this also. If I'm not able to do on that time, let me finish my duty first, and then I will continue my chanting and complete. So this is what I've learned from devotees and by hearing lectures.
That's true, Mataji. And so in the Ishopanishad, there's a beautiful verse that they call it Vidya and Avidya. And they said that the avidya will take you to darkness and avidya will take you to deeper darkness, but with combination of proper combination of vidya and avidya, you can achieve transcendence. What it means is basically avidya is the knowledge of material world, knowledge of material world, how to be nice with people, how to manage relationship, how to have healthy relationships, how to earn money, how to build home, how to maintain home, how to run a business, and everything else. This is called avidya because this will not give you Krishna. This will not help you stop the cycle of birth, which is the ultimate goal of human life. You may do this very nicely and very successfully. You will, but none of these activities will actually facilitate you to stop cycle of birth. That cycle of birth can be stopped only when you attain Krishna. That Krishna says in 9.3 that if you cannot attain me, you will return to the cycle of birth. So attainment of Krishna is the only way we can stop this cycle of repeated birth. Now, if we uh, so the avidya will take us to darkness because then there is no hope of achieving our ultimate objective. And only doing vidya is also not fully useful because if we only do spiritual activities without giving any consideration for our material needs. For example, if we are given a particular body, we are born in a particular family, and we could be at this present stage particular ashram in varnashram, grahastha ashram, or
Okay, Diana.
somebody could be student, and somebody could be a retired person, or various different stages of our of our lifespan. And at every stage of our life, we have duties, towards which arise out of that, arise because we just happen to be here. And if we neglect these duties, it will not help us in our devotion as well. We will create agitation around us, which will help us not, which cannot help us perform our sadhana properly. And hence, even this Ishopanishad verse says that a proper combination of vidya and avidya. Now, the how that proper combination is struck is something that individually every devotee has to work out with his senior, that what is the right combination for me. What is, when should I not over endeavor and let my spiritual life get impacted by my material activity. Now that line, when and it's again, we cannot be 100% on dot on the line. We will always be either on this side or that side, but we have to have the consciousness that we have to strike the balance. And our balance of the primary goal is towards spiritual, but if we neglect material, our spiritual cannot become successful. Our Because during the lifespan that we have to have facility to maintain ourselves, again using skills given by Krishna, but we need to still create something to maintain ourselves. And unless we have that structure, we cannot even perform bhakti. We so to that extent, there is a limited, uh, sufficient time also need to be given to take care of our material needs. And this is again a scriptural recommendation which we apply in case to case basis, because everyone's case can be different. And for some, are told to remain in the grahasthashram for more time, while they express a desire to become full time. But again, it's not one solution can be given to everyone. There is a general principle towards which we need to go, and however every persons will have a slightly varying journey towards that ultimate objective. And that our specific case can be discussed on a one-to-one conversation with our senior devotees, and specific personalized guidance can be taken in a confidential way. But that is very important, that a lot of people think that if you do this, this has to be given up, or if you're doing this, which means you cannot do that. Both need to be done. Third verse in the third chapter, 10th verse, Krishna says that the all the souls are sent under the guidance of Prajapati, that by performing sacrifices you shall live happily and liberate. That's the this is the exact translation Prabhupada gives, that live happily and liberate. If you're hungry for a week, you cannot chant. That's just fact. At our level, we cannot chant. Somebody like Haridas Thakur can chant. We cannot chant. And if you don't have shelter, and if it's raining like it rains in Mumbai, we cannot remember Krishna at our level. So we need to create some structure around us which kind of give us flexibility and facility for performing devotional service. Now, how good bad structure, how what structure and what is the minimum structure, and how what is my minimum standard, those things can vary from person to person, and we need not really draw a generalization for that. But that's where the personalized guidance can come into picture. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. We'll move to the next theme that we want to cover. It's again very interesting theme. So I'll be completing this. I'll just take some notes. I'll be completing this aspect and then share this with everyone. And you can come back to me with if you have any additional points to be added. The fourth theme that we'll talk about is regulate senses. Now, this comes in Bhagavad Gita very early, immediately after completing the soul and body part. This particular theme comes in. which start talking about that the this now this is again talking about the purpose of the world. The whole world is created for our enjoyment. Now this is what everyone want us to believe, that the world is meant for enjoyment, and particularly our enjoyment, and everybody has to enjoy the way and manner in which it is possible for them to enjoy. Now that's true and that's not true as well. One has having taken birth, one is not supposed to just remain here sad, because ananda, Satchit Ananda is one of the principal characteristic of a soul. A soul can be, soul will soul will always be active, and soul will always be desirous of having ananda, having bliss. Now that's just innate nature of soul. Soul searches for happiness. If it cannot get it from the spiritual activity, it will search for happiness in material activity, but it cannot just sit idle, do nothing. So so if happiness, enjoying happiness is the goal, then why sense regulation is required? Now this is very interesting topic that Krishna picks up for explaining to Arjuna, that uh, having taken birth in this material world, senses are to be utilized. Senses need to be regulated in a regulated way, and this is where the series of verses comes in the second chapter, and it goes on. It's a, like a slightly longish section. So Prabhu will now take up your question maybe towards the end. Let's go through these verses, and there will be a lot to contribute for this particular section as well from everyone. And I'll encourage others also to think and think about how this applies to yourself. What is the general learning that you have been able to pick up, and how you can practically apply this. Now, first verse is the most beautiful verse. Now, these all are very important verses, and one hour class can be given on each of the word spoken in this particular verse. Like bhokeshwarya prasaktanam taya apaharata chetasam vyavasayitmaka buddhi samadhona vidhyate. Vyavasayitmaka buddhi. Radheshyam Prabhu has given one whole class on this, 2 hour, 1 hour class on this. Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam. What does it mean? Now, so these are all very beautiful topics, very beautiful concepts that Krishna has brought in Bhagavad Gita, and we will let's go through them quickly, and then we will try to get the nectar out of them and see how we can practically apply, how and where we can practically apply them. So in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things. So two things: one is attached to enjoyment actually engagement with the sense objects, sense enjoyment, and material opulence is wealth, and fame, kirti, even that is opulence. Knowledge is opulence. So material opulence, one is desirous of possessing that material opulence. So material opulence is possess, and sense enjoyment is activity, is a action. And these two things, one is attached to doing these two things, that acquiring opulence and enjoying, actually acting for the sense enjoyment, sense pleasure. If you are attached to these two things, or you are bewildered by such things, means when you see somebody doing it, you get bewildered by it, you get a desire to get engaged in similar activities yourself. So so both these things cause agitation in mind. So when your mind is agitated, you cannot perform anything properly, you cannot. So for performing sadhana bhakti, you need dedication, you need determination, you need a vyavasayit makabuti. A single-minded focus is required in order to perform sadhana bhakti also. And Krishna says that such single-minded focus cannot be achieved by those people who have attached to sense enjoyment and possessing material opulence, or they're bewildered by these two things. For such people, single-minded focus cannot be achieved. And so whatever bhakti they do, that is also half-hearted, and that cannot give them proper benefit, and they cannot do it for long time with commitment also. So a kind of a lose-lose situation for those who are still whose minds are still attached to who are still bhogeshwarya prasaktanam. And what happens there? Apaharata chetasam, their mind gets kidnapped practically, because of this desire to enjoy kidnaps their mind. 55th verse, Krishna says again, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, that Prajahati Yada Sama Yada Kaman Sarva Partha Manugatan, that when a man give up all varieties of desires for sense enjoyment, sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, manogatan, anything that is, so our actions, our desires also need to be regulated. uh, our desires, mind is a factory of manufacturing desires, and anything that comes out of mind does not necessarily comes from soul. Soul is covered by our mind, but hence a desire of soul can also come through the mind only, because mind is the only channel through which soul can communicate with us outwards. And so whatever will come from mind need not necessarily be manufactured, need not necessarily be coming from soul. So we have to be very careful with our desires. So desires which come from mental concoction should be given up, and then what kind of desires that should be cultivated, those can help us with our sadhana, with our spiritual goal. So those type of desires should be cultivated, and from where we learn to get those kind of desires, we get those from the scriptures and the actions of guru and sadhu. Guru sadhu shastra can teach us which desires are beneficial for our bhakti, will not will be conducive for our sadhana bhakti, which will not be pratikul for our bhakti, which will be anukul for our bhakti. So those desires we can learn from Guru Sadhu and Shastra. So this is what Krishna says. 58th verse of the same chapter, Krishna says very beautifully. He gives example of kurmo. Kurmo means tortoise. Now tortoise has does two things. Whenever it senses danger, it withdraw its senses and bring them up and bring them under its shell. He's a shell on his back, and he protect his senses. Senses are very delicate, and they can get attracted towards wrong things. So a tortoise does not let all his senses out in an uncontrolled way. And very beautifully, Krishna is explaining with an example that he brings those senses whenever he senses danger outside. He brings those senses under his shell whenever he senses danger outside, and whenever he see a comfortable situation or a proper situation, he let all his senses go out. Now uh, Krishna is obviously expecting us to behave in this way, that whenever there are sense objects which are not, there could be dangers which can, the four regulative principle gives us a boundary, gives us a framework in which we should desire what we should desire. And the more no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no uh, intoxication gives us a framework to tell us that what kind of desires we can cultivate or we should cultivate, and the do's of the side, that we should be performing devotional service, we should be hearing and chanting Krishna's name, we should be cultivating Krishna's remembrance, we should be visiting temples, we should be visiting dham. Now these tell us what we should do. Now between these two we need to pick. Wherever we see danger, we should withdraw our senses, we should not let them go out at wrong places, and whenever we visit temples, we should let all our senses come out, and using all our skills, abilities, talents, we should serve Lord and his devotees in his mission. So that's how beautifully Krishna explains. 59th verse again, Krishna explains that about the rasovarjam rasopyasya param drashta nivartate, that it is not easy to because the sense enjoyment, a soul, the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, but the taste for sense objects still remains. It's not proper cure. It's like a half cure. It's not even a half cure, it's maybe a quarter cure, because you're somehow restricting uh, the senses from the sense objects. but the taste has not gone. The taste has not gone, which means that every available opportunity you will grab onto the same sense object. So that determination is not there. The discrimination has not yet happened that this is not good. Even if at times the discrimination comes, but the desire still remains. Like even if it is written on the packet of a cigarette that it is harmful for health, the desire still overpower our intelligence and still grab the cigarette and we start smoking at the first available opportunity. So, but what is the solution? Krishna says seizing such engagement by experiencing higher taste, one can then become fixed in consciousness. Now, ये कितने दिन तुम नाटक करोगे कि सिगरेट छोड़ दिया, सिगरेट छोड़ दिया, सिगरेट छोड़ दिया? Because the as long as the taste remains, as long as the higher that, because you're not given higher taste, as long as the taste for the lower happiness remains, um, um, at the first available opportunity we can just trip, we can just fall down. And to avoid doing that, we should engage in experiencing higher taste. The higher taste comes when we connect with Krishna. Higher taste for hearing comes when we hear Krishna Katha. Higher taste for hearing comes when we hear Krishna Bhajan. Krishna sing Krishna's Bhajan. Higher taste for tongue comes when we eat Krishna Prasad. Higher taste for eyes comes when we take Lord's beautiful darshan. Higher taste for eyes comes when we see Lord's dham and his places of pastimes. So all our senses, just like Ambarish Maharaj, can be engaged in service of Krishna. In when we bring Krishna, when we connect all our five sense objects with Krishna, they start becoming purified. And in that purified stage, this is how they will get a higher taste. And they can then be able to give up the lower taste. And that is the process Krishna is giving for for increasing our purification, and increasing our active better, improving our activities from tamogun, rajagun to sattvagun, and finally to shuddha sattva. 60th verse, Krishna again beautifully explains that haranti prasabha mana. Now, forcibly haranti is a kidnapped mind of a person who is trying to vipaschitaha, who is trying to control senses. Now, he's not an ignorant person. A person ignorant of scriptures does not know what is right, what is wrong. So obviously, the moment he sees the first sense object, he gets carried away behind it. But this is Krishna is in the 60th verse talking about a person who's like more like a Jamil, who understands Shastra, who understand what is right, what is wrong. And he stays still his this kind of a person's also, if his mind is senses are so strong that they can carry away forcibly mind of a person who is trying to control them with determination. So it's not easy. The whole point is it's not very easy. So that's why Krishna says that make Krishna the objective of your controlled senses. The senses are to be controlled for what? For investing them in Krishna. Olympic medalist control their senses a lot. When they get up early in the morning. Winning gold medal in Olympic is no easy task. There could be years of hard work which has gone behind that, effort or hard work which has gone behind, and that finally results into a medal, gold medal. So, and while doing that hard work, they probably not able to do. They are not able to lead a normal life, which their other people of same age are doing. Which means they are controlling their senses. They are keeping their senses under control. And what is the objective of their control senses? Is the winning of medal at the Olympic event. Now, this is still better than eating pizza, controlling senses and then going out and eating pizza or whatever, saving money so that I can go and eat at a bigger, better restaurant. But this is still defeating, because unless you make Krishna the objective of your control senses, they are likely to fall back to the old ways of doing things. And hence Krishna says that And how does that happen again? From which is explained in the 8-step process of fall down from 62 to 63, 2.62 to 2.63, starting with dhyato, or while contemplating on the sense object. This can immediately trigger a fall down, and no time before one realizes one has already gone, forgotten everything and gone back to the old ways of doing things. 64th verse, Krishna says that a person free from all attachment and aversions and able to control his senses through regulatory principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. He can get prasad, because unless we endeavor, we cannot, we don't even become eligible to attract Krishna's mercy. The mercy has to be attracted, and that happens only when we endeavor sincerely. And this is the process for endeavor that Krishna has recommended. Um, Another beautiful example Krishna gives, that when we let our senses free to do whatever they want, they just become like a boat roaming on the water. A boat on the water gets swept away with the wind, which can go, which can wind can take boat in the direction, opposite direction of where it wants to originally go. So we have to be very careful with our senses. 68th verse, beautiful verse again. um, Krishna says that the one whose senses are restricted from their object is certainly a steady intelligence. 3.39th verse. Another beautiful set of verses comes here, and this is one of the important verses I've quoted. There are, prior to this also, there are some beautiful verses which you can all take a look at. Thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, the nitya vairina, कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पुरेण अनाल अनलेन च. uh, 40th verse, Krishna is saying that the senses, the mind, and intelligence are sitting places for lust. Now, the lust is the primary enemy Krishna identifies in the previous verse. And then he says, where it is there in the senses, it's there in the mind, and it's there in the intelligence. Remember, mind, intelligence we brought forward from our previous birth. Senses are hardware. Mind, intelligence is like a software. So it's all stored in the, all wrong things that we did are stored in the hardware of senses, but they get destroyed with the body. But they are also there in the mind, present in the mind and intelligence, which get carried forward from one body to another body. So even in the new body, we can have previous conceptions, and that's how we carry forward what we have done. Actions, unfinished actions of previous birth are carried forward. Now again, if they are wrong actions, they also get carried forward. If they are right actions, they also get carried forward. If one has performed devotional service throughout one's life, and towards the end, they've got tripped from the path, their predominant impressions are devotional, so they got carried forward. So this person starts bhakti at the first available opportunity, to towards start moving towards perfection. If they have done all wrong things in their previous life, then those impressions are there in the mind and intelligence, and they start working on the same as well. So he start with those impressions as well. 42 verse, it gives the hierarchy, that who is greater. Working senses better than working senses. Senses are better than dull matter. Who is better? Senses. And then mind is better than senses. Intelligence is superior to mind, and soul is ultimately the superior to even intelligence. So he's supposed to be in control, not being controlled, not under the control of mind and intelligence, but should be the controller of mind and intelligence. So in the 43rd verse gives the instructions that thus knowing oneself to be the transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty arm Arjuna, one should steady the mind of by deliberate sinful intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy called lust. Now, why lust is talked about? Because that's the predominant enemy. That is what predominant cause for destruction. That we can look around in newspaper, and the the half of the newspaper will be filled with these stories, where the crime and the events that have happened due to the lust, and the Bollywood promote lust, and then the advertisement promote lust and lusty behavior, lusty actions. And lust is not restricted to only sex, but it's also accumulation of wealth, accumulation of your money, and anything that you want to do in an illegal way, or in excessive quantities, with greed, is lusty behavior. So it's all full. The whole world is filled with lust today. And so that's how the now Krishna speak about this again in the 5th chapter, 21st verse, the Baihar Sparsha Asaktanam, where he says that a liberated person is not attracted to the material sense pleasures, but is always in trance. And then he talks about the other person, the यही संस्पर्श जा भोगा दुःख योनय एवते आद्य अंतवंत कौंतय नैतेषु रमते बुधा. That intelligent person does not take part in the Buddha is an intelligent person, no teshu ramate Buddha. He does not in delight or does not take part in the activities of yehi sansparsha ja bhoga, that activities which are performed by the senses, using the senses, or pleasures, deriving pleasures by using senses. An intelligent person does not get engaged in that, no, fully knowing that it has a beginning and it has an end. So what does intelligence person do? The 23 was, before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the forces of their desire and anger, he will say he's well situated and he's happy in this world. How to become happy? By indulging in sense gratification, or by regulating senses and controlling senses, or the urges of the senses. Krishna says the opposite, that when you regulate and keep your senses under control, uh, then you have a hope of becoming happy. Otherwise, there's no hope. No matter how much resources you have, how much physical capacity you have for sense enjoyment, you cannot be fully satisfied ever, and hence you will never become happy, no matter how good or bad or ugly your condition is physically, materially. 6.16, Krishna says that there is no possibility of one becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleep too much or does not sleep at all. He who is regulated in his habit of eating, sleeping, recreation, work, can mitigate all material pains by practicing yoga system. These are all verses we considered up till 6th chapter mostly. We've not gone beyond 6th chapter. Therefore, we're just limiting. We're taking some important verses which may come in the subsequent chapters. But as far as this theme is concerned, we are still trying to limit ourselves to the 6th chapter. The next theme is desire to enjoy, which we'll take up late, maybe next class. But let us see if anybody has anything to contribute about this particular topic that we just concluded reading about sense control and not sense enjoyment. Anyone who has not spoken so far wants to say something? Yes, Swapnil Prabhu, Ravi Prabhu, and then Vikas Rauji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, about sense enjoyment, the question about sense enjoyment.
So we need to give general learnings and the practical application. What we can do at our level, where we can see the. We've heard what Krishna has spoken. Now, if you want to bullet like points, you have to note it in some bullet points. How will you put them into some bullets, and what can be the practically then where we find them relevant in the practical day-to-day life of ours with grihasthas of this world.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, sense gratification, a very latest example is yesterday's example for me is that probably that there's a New Year Eve party been organized, and that evening the New Year party is nothing but it is a enjoyment to all our senses. People, both the food and the dance and the song and everything which the senses need to enjoy is there. But yesterday, my friends were there, but yesterday I was supposed to be going there. But knowingly or unknowingly, when I read your message, and the back of the mind, it was that the next day we need to get up early morning and do our chanting. So what happened is, from inside, I was feeling that probably I should not be going, or I should not get an invitation itself. If I get invitation, probably then I will be obliged to go there as a mark of respect. But this is where the control of senses happened, that nowadays you do not see much enjoyment in your sense gratification, but you want to enjoy on a higher level, and you eagerly wait for other sessions to happen, or your chanting becomes your priority rather than the sense gratification. I just wanted to add experience, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Yeah, thanks for sharing. No, understood. Basically, just to summarize what you've said, that there was an opportunity and there could have been an obligation to go, but fortunately, probably it didn't happen. Nobody invited you, therefore you never went, and you are not regretful about it. Is that correct?
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, I could. The invitation was there, but I did not make a second prompt attempt to ask for it. That I want to come. But yes, there was also a support to me that second invitation didn't came to me.
Okay, understood. Yeah, no, that's fine. So thanks for sharing that personally. And most of us probably would have gone through, most of the most of those on this call probably would have gone through similar experience last night. So it's always better to be in the temple environment. And if you tell people that you are going to temple, nobody will ask you second time that you don't go to temple but come here. And temple, you are protected from all this, and there you can still have a song and dance and feast and kirtans and katha. Everything will be there. Play games, everything will be there, and you can still celebrate, be happy, but still not get agitated. Your senses don't get agitated unnecessarily. So that's the whole point of creating a program in the temple as well, to protect our devotees, which otherwise would get exposed. Ravi Prabhu and Jigna Mataji, and then Vikas Roji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Roji.
Prabhuji, yes. Prabhuji, earlier I used to have a lot of bad habits. Now controlling those bad habits, yes, controlling my senses to not go to that bad habits. Now I am regularly chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Whenever I am on the way to my office or to home, in between, if I mean, sometimes my happens that so for controlling that, I'm doing regular chanting on the way to my office and on the way to home also. So that in that way, I'm controlling my senses, Prabhuji, and always praying my Guruji and everybody that not to go into the against that bad habit. So in that way, I'm controlling, especially doing chanting and as well as praying Radha Krishna. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm now controlling my.
that's
Thank
a
you very
very
much.
important, that's a very important point you brought up, Raji. So Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada was once asked that, he once said that to his devotees, that I will never fall in Maya. And his devotees were astonished. He said, yeah, Prabhupada is such a a highly elevated soul, that he cannot fall in Maya. And then they knew that they are always in Maya and they're just trying to be in Krishna consciousness for a few moments. But despite of being in personal association of Sri Prabhupada, but Prabhupada explains them that it doesn't work that I'm elevated soul, that therefore I am above Maya. He says, I pray to Krishna every day that don't let me fall in Maya. I pray to Krishna every day that please don't let me fall in Maya. Therefore, and Krishna will protect me. I have full faith that Krishna will protect me, and hence I am saying that I will not fall in Maya. It's not that by my endeavor I will not. I'm above Maya. It's by Krishna's mercy I am above Maya. I can be above Maya. So by connecting with Krishna, by retaining our contact with Krishna, we can be saved from Maya, not otherwise. If you remove Krishna from our life, we are in Maya. Then we, on our own, we cannot overcome Maya. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for sharing. Jigna
Yes,
Mataji.
yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I had just had a couple of points. One was, I think we keep talking about offering prasad to Lord and then having that. So I think in that respect, that sense object also takes care. What I do personally and what I have, been doing for years is keeping all these important things with you while, it could be either a social or a professional, either a commitment or some obligation, and you're traveling or you're enjoying with other people, but keeping your prayer books, keeping your chant mala, or keeping everything, I keep that and plan myself very well even while I'm traveling. So I think that kind of helps, while you are enjoying also, you can connect with Krishna all the time.
Okay, yeah. I remember, I think you mentioning once that you carry Ekadashi Prasad also with you all the time. Yeah, so on no Ekadashi, you can be tempted to eat outside food. You always have that ready
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. That I
Wonderful.
given my prayer books and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think when you're enjoying with your family, because it's an obligation at the end where you have to be with others, you have to be a part of celebrations or whatever. So or professional or whatever it could be. So I think you don't get tempted when you all the time carry your essentials and you are with it. I mean, I was just thinking the other day that I wouldn't mind even keeping a small lala with me all the time, even while I'm traveling. So he's with me,
Mm.
anyway, but that is a little father thought.
Sure. Ekta Mataji, you had raised a hand. You want to say something? Ekta Talreja Mataji. Okay. Uh, Vikas Rauji and Swapnil Prabhuji, you probably raised hand again, so you can.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So as Swapnil Prabhuji mentioned that he is the best example of 259 now in, in the contemporary scenario as of now, that when he says that Raso Varjam Raso Pyasya Param Drasva Nivartate. Though he may be in the process of being the Param Drasva, but that is definite that just by tasting the higher taste of Krishna consciousness, that is just by chanting and involving in reading the books of Srila Prabhupada, it automatically distracts us from the other things. Otherwise, when we see that when we were, when still, though, at least if I talk about myself, that I'm very new to Krishna consciousness, or even rather trying to practice it, that how it can be practiced in full. So the things which used to happen before, like if someone has taken something like the new possession, and it automatically used to come to the mind that I should also have this one, or I should have a better one than that. So that was the unregulated senses that were always hankering for the matter of just possessing it, and it was not having a look at the practicality of it, whether as to whether I'm requiring it, as to whether this is the need of my life or not. There was just always a desire, and the flow of desire was constant, and the senses and the mind and intelligence were engaging literally in that how to go about it and how to acquire the better thing than the person who is just next to me or who is in the vicinity has acquired it. And there was an unnecessary and just an unending run after that. So that were unregulated senses. And when we come to this platform, and it eventually happens that whatever I'm in need of, that has already been provided by Krishna. So why to desire for anything else? And I have got all the time to devote in the either in serving Krishna by whatever little or mean I can do, or just the read the books of Srila Prabhupada, or whatever time I can engage in the remembrance of Krishna. So the senses are regulated to the some kind of devotional services, and which is the effect of this. And the practicality is that the Krishna consciousness, the principles of Krishna consciousness are very, very practical, because we can see the difference. I hope everyone will agree to this point, that when we came to the Krishna consciousness, before that, this was the scenario that we were always, at least I can talk about myself only, that I was also always hankering for that. I will plan this, I will have that, and those were all my sense pleasures. Those things were giving sense pleasure. And now even a beautiful meal, a very good delicious meal that I used to ever enjoy it before leaving the onion garlic, it never attracts me towards itself. That and the prasadam, that is always attracting, and that is always tasty. So we can always, by contemplating on this, we can come to a practical learning that the letting loose the senses is a great disaster, and controlling is the controlling senses will take us somewhere further to Krishna, as Krishna is explaining in the sixth chapter itself. Yukta aravyarasya yukta tistasya karma. So, and how it can be done? It can be done just by engaging oneself in the Krishna consciousness, the principles of Krishna consciousness, wherein Prabhujis are always mentioning that you need to chant 16 now, you need to read Srila Prabhupada books, you should not have this onion, garlic, and tea and coffee, meat eating is prohibited, the four regulative principles are there, such. So, this is 100% practical, that if we if we want to control, rather, if we want to control our senses, we have to be in the under the principles of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, there is no mean, as in 260 Krishna clearly declares that even if the yogis are trying to control, the senses are beyond their control, and they by force let what they want to have like happen through the soul, they let it happen. They utilize the mind and intelligence of that particular individual. So the Krishna consciousness is the practical thing which can make us make our things regulated, and it has happened in past with the people, with the devotees, and it is happening with the neophytes and the aspirants like me. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Swapnil Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, my question is not on the current topic. I mean, you have already said it in the session, but it's a bit complex for me at least. Prabhuji, when you are a practicing devotee, you come across a lot of situation. One question that I would like to understand is probably is you see a lot of people or a lot of devotees, a lot of people, and you have saints and all. My question is that what is a smile on a face of a person who has materialistically successful in his life? What is the smile a devotee has on his face when he is a Krishna conscious? What is a smile a saint has when he smiles, and he smiles over everyone, or not everyone, on every occasion or every moment? And what is that smile which mocks you? There are some individuals in the society whose smile mocks you. It is not necessary that they are very successful or materialistically rich, but their smile mocks you. And what are these different smiles, and how do we tackle as a devotee, how do we tackle these various smiles? I mean, some are very pleasing to heart, but some are very hurtful. So how do we come out of this hurt feelings when someone smiles at you, and how to understand that, Prabhuji?
So thank you so much, Roji, for a deep question. So basically, so the gradation of happiness. and how do we deal with that? So Jignauda, you have still your hand raised. If you have any point to make, or we'll come to the question by Saptil Prabhuji last. Do you have any point to
Hello.
make? Yeah, you still have
Hare
your
Krishna.
hand raised.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Mataji.
No, no, no. I don't have a pointer. It was by mistake, Prabhuji. I need to
All right.
just,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So what Saptil Prabhuji has just asked is, I'll just summarize that there are different smiles, and smiles indication of say happiness, and different people are happy differently. And how do we interpret them as a devotee? How do we see that as a devotee? How should we see them or smiles are? And give example of a person who is materially very successful. He's smiling, and what does that mean? Uh, and if some a devotee is smiling in whichever condition he's smiling. And then a person who is mocking a devotee, कि ये सब क्यों कर रहा है तुम? And a saint is smiling. So let's go through one example by example. But a person who is having attained material success, and if he's smiling, if he has no God consciousness, if he's this is going to be the topic of our discussion next Sunday. That who is the doer? If he believes that everything is done by his hard work, whatever his success, material success that he has achieved, and it can be grand success to our not to dispute about that, but and if he believes that it has all been achieved by his hard work, and if with that consciousness, if such person is smiling, then then we can how do we then how as a devotee how should we interpret that, how should we consider that? So as a devotee, we know that who is the doer is the answer to that is given in the 47th verse of second chapter, where Krishna says that without my sanctioning nothing can happen. And doing your duty is doing your prescribed duty is what is mandatory for you, but the results doesn't depend only on that. You having done your part does not guarantee results, which means it has to have additional component attached to it. And that additional component is that of Krishna's sanction, Krishna's will. Krishna's sanction happens based on law of karma. If he is a non-devotee, he is under the regulation of law of karma. And if his karma permits, his small efforts can give him large results. And or his there could be 1-on-1 ratio for him. That if he's put in 100% effort, he's getting 100% results. At times he may put 100% effort, he get more than 100% results also. Now it all depends on how much karma is permitting, and one who understand this is not bewildered by this fact. Now the person who is smiling may or may not know this. If assuming if he doesn't understand this principle of why he is having what he is having, then that's an illusion, because his time will also change. And if that time changes, he will be bewildered, because it is same he who could achieve so much grand success. Now the same he is unable to even defend or maintain that whatever the opulence that he has achieved, and that can be very devastating for that person. Also eventually at the moment of death, everything is anyway taken away. Now if the world operates so systematically, so perfectly, uh, the world if the and the purpose of this world is to enjoy, to let souls enjoy, then the god also would have created unlimited life he would have given unlimited time to the bodies for enjoyment. But the limited time and the change of body signifies that this is a journey, this is not the end destination for the soul. So soul has to achieve something, and then either move to the next body on a better facility, or worse facility, or similar facility, or just to get out of this cycle of birth. There are four possibilities that exist for the soul. When soul act in unawareness, then it's stuck in this one of these three actions: either go higher, the same, stay at same level, or gets degraded. But either way, either case, his possessions are taken away, and that is a bewildering moment. Even if one lives life perfectly, happily, with lot of material enjoyments, lot of material knowledge, at the end of it, when things are taken away from him, that becomes a moment of bewilderment for him. And he see this happening all the time, all around us, which means this is not a perfect position to be achieved in. So a devotee will always be devotee can also have a lot of material possessions, and devotee will always be thankful to Krishna for that. So he will have recognized Krishna's hand in it, and he should be grateful. He will be always grateful to Krishna for the sanctioning him to have this material opulence, whatever it is. And with this, his commitment to Krishna will increase. Not that he's stopped committing to Krishna, but his commitment and dedication to Krishna, he will take greater shelter of Krishna, because Krishna has given him so much. And when Krishna has not given him as much as he desired, still he will be committed to Krishna, knowing fully that it's because of his bad karma in past. He's probably not, the sanction is not there. And which again proves the whole philosophy that the world is meant for a different purpose. It's not meant for enjoyment. Otherwise, every soul would have been given the same facility for enjoyment. But every soul has different facility and capacity to enjoy, because it all depends on the law of karma. And hence, one will always be dedicated to Krishna. Devotees, devotee in his good and bad condition increases dedication for Krishna in every situation. So Bhishma Dev was given a service to fight against Krishna, because that was his service, and that brought to him a lot of infamy, because he was present when Draupadi was disrobed, because he was always on the side of Dhritarashtra. He couldn't convince Dhritarashtra to do right things. He couldn't convince Duryodhan, prevent him from doing all wrong things. All that was happening under his supervision, and he was partly blamed for that. And that was giving him infamy, that he was otherwise a great devotee of Lord. But since that was the desire of the Lord, he continued with that service. And even though that is not a most desirable kind of a service to be done, so but that ultimately brought him fame, because he became Mahajan, one of the authorities in preaching of Krishna consciousness philosophy. So uh, so the devotees in every case remains equipoised, does not get bewildered by anything. Whether the opulent, they're always able to maintain their smile, not because of what they possess, but by knowing who is in under whose control and protection they are in. That is why they are smiling. A saint smiling has is saint is a devotee, obviously, so he's fully dependent on Krishna, and he's always serving Krishna, so there is no agitation for saint. So they are always smiling, and they are always helping others come to Krishna. And so the person who is mocking, when he smiles कि आज भी तू मंदिर जा रहा है, 31st है, पार्टी को नहीं आ रहा है, मंदिर जा रहा है. Now uh, there is obviously so this is not done in good taste, sarcasm in it. And so how but they, so this is this is to feel pity upon. I mean, we should feel pity upon such people. We should feel compassion upon the first type of people who are in ignorance. But these people, they don't know where they are going, and they can't even discriminate what is between right and wrong. So one should feel bad about them, but can't do much about them, because such people, when they are mocking you in that mood, they cannot listen to you. So if you at all you want to preach or you want to share Krishna consciousness, the first type of people who are at least in ignorance are the better prospect than these mocking people. These mocking people will have long time to spend before they can actually come to Krishna consciousness. So that's how devotee see things, and this is how a devotee can respond to things happening around him. Again, it could be long answer, but and lot more can be spoken, but this is what I thought will quickly summarize.
Prabhuji, absolutely. I mean, the explanation was very well taken. I think yes. I think first example, if I may allow to summarize very quickly, what I understand, first smile can be a smile of ignorance, that he is totally ignorant. The smile of a mocking person can be a demonic smile. We can compare it that this person is a total dominic. I mean, demon within himself. The the smile of the devotee can be a smile of contention, that he is contented with his life and with what he is following Krishna consciousness. And perfectly, as you said, smile of a saint can be a wise man's smile, that he knows everything and he's been there and he has gone through everything and still he's smiling. It means it's a smile of the God. And that's why we compare any of our devotees and acharyas next to God. So that is my summary. I think that is what is my understanding with what nectarian thoughts you have shared right now. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your share. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Guru, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. One more question is, Solon, you want to ask question? You're there, the call?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji, I have asked in the chat.
How to maintain equilibrium between and also not out of sync with the friends. Like I'm blessed with the friends who ask about Krishna consciousness and also interested, but sometimes also engage in sense enjoyment, and how to maintain that. And spirituality must be in absolute terms, and if we enjoy, we'll be angry with us. So basically, how to deal with friends. Now, typically, young age, when you suddenly change gears and come to Krishna consciousness, where all of your friends are not into it, there could be some positive curiosity towards Krishna consciousness. कि क्यों जाते हो टेम्पल बार बार, क्या करते हो वहां जाके, कीर्तन हाँ मैंने भी सुना था, अच्छा लगता है, बुक्स तो भगवत गीता तो यस, भगवत गीता तो सबको पढ़नी चाहिए, बट अभी नहीं, इसके लिए टाइम है. Now this could be a positive curiosity of our friends, and versus a sincere practice that we all want to put in. Now at times, um, how do we deal with them? How do we deal with this? That you can't directly give Krishna consciousness to them because they might not be ready. You might not be capable enough of explaining everything. You probably might be yourself new and really not in a position to really engage them in a discussion whereby you can help them come to Krishna consciousness. Now, a couple of approaches you can take in this regard. One is uh, one is obviously, uh, um, I can think of a couple of approaches with which you can look at this. One is you becoming stronger in Krishna consciousness practice, no matter what they think and how they think. So ignoring all the talk that may happen in the background, you need to become firm and steady and strong in sadhana, in the Krishna consciousness. The sadhana requires basic, very basic. Get up early in the morning and chant 16 rounds. Uh, Read Bhagavad Gita, hear katha, hear lectures on various topics that devotees talk about, and relate it with your life, relate it with your day-to-day life. Eat prasad. Now that's fundamental, it's basic but very difficult to implement at times. Now these are the once you implement these basic things in the of Krishna consciousness in to your life, uh, Now there will be two things that will be happening, and this for doing all this you need somebody's guidance, because you on a day-to-day basis, for everything there will be 100 questions that you may have, and you will need somebody to ask those questions, to get those clarifications, bring those changes into your life, and then accordingly make suitable adjustments into your schedule, so that you fit into the into doing those things. And this is once you do this, there will be a significant change that you yourself will experience in yourself. Now this change is obviously positive. You will your what this connection with Krishna will quickly help you move from rajo and tamogun to sattvagun. When you are in sattvagun, you like to be truthful, you will like to be, your integrity will go up, you will be always truthful, you will be clean, you'll be you'll have a lot of peace of mind. You'll have a lot of things under your control, a lot of anger, a lot of your other anarthas like anger, the greed, the lusty thoughts, the bad words, all of those things which, or the tamasic things, the tamasic songs, tamasic movies that you probably liked a few days ago, few months ago, a few years ago, probably, those type of food, all of those, you start losing attraction towards that. Does attraction start reducing the moment you get connected with Krishna, you start hearing Krishna's name while doing japa, you start losing attraction towards these things. And this change is significant change from your friend's point of view, because they will not relate with this change, and then suddenly will say that you don't want to go for to a hotel even, which even serves a non-vegetarian food. What to speak of eating non-vegetarian? Earlier you probably might have had enjoyed doing this. Now this change is something that will be astonishing for your friends to digest, and this is where they will start digging deeper into what activities you are doing, which is causing this change. Now if they are inquisitive enough, they are pious enough, sukriti jana sukrituna, they have enough sukriti, then they will want to become like you, because being peaceful, being happy, being someone who is not agitated, being who is able to control their urges, being somebody who is truthful, being somebody who is trustworthy. Now, these are all great qualities that we all look for in our friends. And we ourselves might not be all this, but we want somebody like this. And if you happen to be that, obviously you will be in great demand. People will, so if they have some sukruti, then they will value these qualities in you, and then they themselves will come and inquire from you how they can acquire similar qualities, so that you are probably demonstrating. And even if small extent, you don't have to become a practitioner for years to demonstrating these qualities. This will come very quickly, this can come very quickly. Just depends on your mood, just depends on how sincerely you feel when you chant, when your connection with Krishna, how sincerely you want it to be developed. It just depends on that. And the more the sincere desire you have to get connected with Krishna, the faster the change will happen in you. It is as simple as that. And if those people have sukruti, they will want to become like you. If they are dushkruti, no, if they have dushkruti in them, they will ridicule you, and they'll in fact tell you that if you remain truthful, you will achieve nothing in your life, or it's useless to be truthful. It's needed to be cunning in the world. You need to be cunning in the world, you need to be chalu in the world, you need to world is bad. And so depends on what gunas they are in, what kind of a sukruti they possess, or duskruti that they possess. It will all depend on that. But eventually, you can help, this is the best way to demonstrate to them that what Krishna consciousness can do. If they choose to adopt and practice, this can happen to them as well. And this is a better way of telling them to become Krishna conscious, rather than forcing Krishna conscious thoughts and debating with them unnecessarily. Because since they are all your close friends, these debates can become endless. In such situation, it's better to connect them somehow to other devotees, so that they can talk with them. So this is what I can summarize, and hopefully this was useful. Okay. Okay. I think Saloni Mataji, you have any other thoughts, or I think you have mentioned something. Yes, as they need to sacrifice non-veg and all if they want to visit temple, and then Bhagavad Gita. Still, they are inquisitive. Okay, that's fine. So connect them with some devotees. That is best way of handling it, and increase your own personal sadhana. If that is not there, then preaching will not help. It just the you cannot effectively preach if you are not practicing it yourself. And when you will practice, then your word will carry meaning. Word will have impact, and then it can be really potent. But at this stage, you can just connect them with the devotees. You stay connected with devotees, practice Krishna consciousness nicely, become a good devotee yourself, and then whatever you will speak will have impact, because Lord will be with you all the time. And then at times, whatever you will speak, God will get those things done. For it's nothing is impossible for Lord. It's all depends on our own desire and our own endeavor, both. We should desire internally, endeavor externally, and if we can combine the two, uh, God can do anything for us. So I think we are at 148. Real apologies for keeping you all waiting for so long, and we will stop today's session. And if you have any other questions, you can send me a WhatsApp, and we can try and get connected offline. But in the next session, we'll complete the first six chapters by discussing three more themes from that chapter, including the one on mind. So it will be very interesting. Please don't miss that. And so till next Sunday, have a great week ahead. Stay connected with Krishna in all ways, different means and facilities using, and we'll meet next Sunday. हरे कृष्णा श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे हरे बोल।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.